Right guys, Gary aka Hopeless back again. Well, the last video did a lot better than I thought it would, compared to pretty much everything else on my channel at the moment. And that was the painting the Nighthaunt chain rasps with contrast paint. And that's sort of given me the motivation to get this video done, and in this video I'm showing how I painted the Stormcast Eternals from the issue 1 of Mortal Realms in the colour scheme of the Celestial Vindicators. Like I said in the last video, I didn't want to just paint the Stormcast Eternals as, like, they appear primarily in the battle tome. I've had this battle tome since the first 4 issues of Mortal Realms came out. I bought it on the idea that I would use this for reference, and I was going to do so many great paint jobs, and then this sort of went on my shelf and I never looked at it again. So the last couple of days I've actually been reading up on this, which is kind of funny considering Dominion's, well, the next version of Age of Sigmar has been announced, and that's primarily why I'm doing all this at the moment, just to see whether I can handle painting armour again. If you're new to the channel, there's a reason I don't paint Space Marines, and that's purely because I find they all look too similar to me. I don't like that. But for some reason these Stormcast are different enough between each model, for the 3 I've done so far, that I'm actually quite interested in the rest of the range. But I'm going off on a tangent. So in this video I will be painting Stormcast Eternals as the Celestial Vindicators using contrast paints. In fact, I only used 3 non-contrast paints if you don't count the basing and the highlighting I did before starting. But yeah, enough of that. Need coffee. Need to finish this video. So let's go on with it. See you in a sec. I started off by putting down a Kalian green over the armour plates. To me, this was the closest to the pictures in the battle tome, and I think it worked quite well. Once that was dry, I moved on to his robes, and I used Flesh Terror Red for this. I almost forgot to do the little red tassels underneath his big hammer there, so went back afterwards. Moving on to the tabard and the wrist coverings he's got, I used Black Templar for this. For the main part of the shoulder pads I used Corax Whites. I very heavily thinned this down because I don't know if it's just my pots, but it looks bloody awful if you don't do anything to it. So yeah, a lot of thinner, and it comes out quite nicely. The other 2 Secretors do have shields, so I used Corax White on those as well. But we'll see everyone at the end of this video for a nice little group shot. I used Vulpus Pink for the weapon handles. And apparently at times I forgot exactly where my camera was facing. Retributor armour up next. Use this for the little decorative bits hanging off the armour, the trims on the shoulder pads, the helmets, and the warhammers themselves. Still struggling to remember where the camera is. Lead Belcher up next, and that was used on the chains and various armour detailing on shoulder pads and shields. And of course this little weird gem thing that they've got hanging from the hips. I then washed over all of the Retributor armour with Guilliman Flesh, which I think comes out quite nicely. With the figures themselves finished, I moved on to the bases. Now each of the bases on the 3 models in this pack slightly different, but most of the paints are all the same. I used Basilicanum Grey for the stonework. This particular model had a broken pot by his feet, so I used snakebite leather on that one. I then used Creed Camo and Orc Flesh to do the alternate leaves by the feet. moving on to the dirt slash sand texture, I used Agaros Dunes for this one. This particular model also had a human skull by his other foot, and after going over it with Corex White to lighten it up, because I'll admit I'm a little bit of a messy painter, I then went over it with Skeleton Horde. One of the other models has a shield with what looks like parchment etched on the front, so with this I used a mixture of Skeleton Horde and contrast medium. Worked out if you do 3 drops of Skeleton Horde to 5 drops of medium, it comes out looking really nice and looking like aged paper. And for the final bit of detail, I got my Aphomatic Blue and went over the little gem vial thing hanging from the hips. I quite like Aphomatic Blue over metallics. It comes out quite nice. And there we are, that is the Stormcast Secretors painted in the colours of the Celestial Vindicators using pretty much only contrast paints. I'm actually really happy with how these came out. I didn't actually expect them to come out as well as they did, but yeah, that's nice. And while there are plenty of other mini painters out there who can probably do a far better job than I can, I do run on an extremely limited hobby time schedule at the moment, so the point of these videos is to show that you can get some really good looking minis when you do have very little time to paint. And in other news, it is my birthday this week, so I have crunched the numbers and I've run it past my girlfriend, and Dominion goes up for pre-order next Saturday, well, the 19th of June if you're watching this at another point, and yeah, I will be pre-ordering the Age of Sigmar Dominion box for its release in July, so that gives me a couple of weeks to do some more of these guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you did like what you see and you're not a subscriber, please do consider hitting the subscribe button, doing a like, share, comment, help the channel grow. Let me know what you think about these models down below in the comments, and if there's any other colour schemes that you would like to see me have a go at with contrast paints, just drop a comment down there. I am currently considering the Sons of the Gladius, the Celestial Warbringers, or the Astral Templars as my next colour scheme. So let me know what you think down below in the comments if one of those sounds interesting. As always, I am Gary, aka Hopeless. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. So until then, see ya!